All that aside, let's return to Peter. This continual focus on Peter indicates that he is the one recalling these events. Regarding Andrew, he may have said to Mark, "The Lord came and called me and my brother Andrew." And Mark writes down that Jesus called Peter and his brother Andrew, just as Peter said to him. All of this makes it obvious that it is in fact Peter speaking. But why isn't it Peter writing? Simple. Peter doesn't speak Greek. That's why he employs the services of Silvanus to write his first epistle. But we know from his journeying out into the world with Paul that Mark most definitely spoke Greek and that he spent extensive time with Peter. They were so close that in 1 Peter 5, the eponymous apostle calls Mark his son. But how do we know it wasn't Silvanus who wrote the gospel? We know because Silvanus, aka Silas, is first mentioned as being a traveling companion with Paul after the gospel had already been written. Peter makes no mention of Silvanus as being the author of the gospel, and Silvanus was not an Aramaic Jew from the same region as Mark and Peter, meaning he would not have had the Aramaicisms. The timeline simply just doesn't match up there. So how do we know that Mark's name just wasn't slapped on later, since he may have been an interpreter of Peter? For the simple reason that it doesn't make sense to pick Mark of all people. Why would you pick somebody who abandoned the mission, turned his back on the faith, and was only redeemed several years later? Why not pick Peter? Right? And just leave the fact that Mark was the interpreter out of it and say it's the gospel of Peter. Why not pick a more significant apostle? If you're going to make up a gospel author, Mark does not make sense to be the one to pick. He is flawed. We don't actually see his redemption in the book of Acts. We only see his abandoning of Paul and Barnabas. All we have on Mark from the scriptures is that he wouldn't make a good gospel author, and yet the book is attributed to him all the same.